The story opens with a corrupted Department of Energy recording from June 1990. A man named Narain is lost inside an endless maze of yellow rooms, fluorescent ceilings, and impossible transitions. Separated from his team, he begs them to find him, insisting something else is moving through the complex. Years later, the world outside looks ordinary. A house is being demolished while workers tear through the property, leaving dark hand-shaped marks near the site. The focus shifts to Clark, owner of a failing pirate-themed furniture store. As he arrives for another day at Captain Clark's, words from therapy echo over his routine. People repeat the same habits because those patterns once made them feel safe. In therapy, Clark admits he hurts people and tells his therapist, Mary, that maybe being alone is simply what he deserves. Mary refuses that conclusion. Clark reenacts a night when he came home drunk, broke a glass, and fought with his wife. The exercise quickly becomes real. At the store, Clark becomes a completely different person for the camera, enthusiastically selling discount furniture in a ridiculous pirate costume. The moment filming ends, the cheerful act disappears. The store has another problem. A technician checks Clark's complaints about outages and rising power use, but the meter looks normal. That night, Mary's self-help program plays on television, promising that people can escape the mental walls they build around themselves. Clark sits alone in the store while the equipment keeps malfunctioning. Clark later listens to more of Mary's program while dwelling on the life he lost. Her recording describes memories becoming walls, until a person feels safer watching life from behind them and stepping outside. A commercial for rival furniture salesman Big Wayne pushes Clark over the edge. Furious about his failing business, he returns to the strange electrical panel after hours. Without warning, Clark falls through the store and wakes on the floor of a vast yellow room. The furniture, walls, and familiar layout are gone. He gets up, searches for an exit, and tests the space around him. But every direction leads to more featureless rooms under the same humming fluorescent lights. Clark keeps walking. Office spaces repeat. Corridors reconnect in ways they should not, and the building seems to extend far beyond the footprint of his store. Then he hears voices. Recorded greetings in different languages echo from somewhere inside the maze, drawing him forward. Instead, he finds even stranger spaces. Clark crawls through a narrow passage and emerges near objects that seem randomly assembled, including an ornate chair and an opening cut into the floor. The maze finally becomes openly threatening. Clark runs through darkened rooms, hides among abandoned furniture, and reacts to something he cannot clearly see. Then the film cuts away to surveillance equipment in a controlled facility, revealing that someone outside already knows this phenomenon exists and has been monitoring it. Clark returns to Mary exhausted and drunk. She tries to determine whether he is in immediate psychiatric danger, but Clark finally tells her what happened. There is a hidden place inside his store, and he has physically walked into it. He describes a doorway through the wall leading to endless copies of offices and rooms, with footsteps and movement somewhere inside. Clark insists the structure is real and extends underground, while Mary questions whether alcohol, stress, or his mental state could be distorting the experience. Determined to prove it, Clark recruits Kat and Bobby. He offers them money, brings a camera, rope, and markers, and shows them the impossible doorway. Clark steps straight through the wall. Inside, all three see that Clark was telling the truth. They move through distorted rooms, strange signs, and spaces that could never fit beneath the store. They eventually find an opening leading deeper down. Bobby agrees to be lowered by rope while filming. Below, he is dragged through a filthy area filled with clothes and debris, and the smell alone tells him something is wrong. His fear turns into panic. Clark and Kat try to pull him back, but the rescue collapses into chaos. Bobby disappears below, and Kat is separated as well. Clark searches the dark maze for her, hearing movement but unable to identify what is nearby. Eventually, Kat appears behind a barrier, terrified and warning that something is coming. Whatever lies inside this place is no longer just a possibility. The story then shifts to Mary's home. There, she angrily stops a young girl from going near the outside and warns that dangerous things are everywhere. Back at the store, Clark leaves Mary a desperate voicemail. Using the language from her own program, he says he has finally opened the window and will not be coming back. Mary realizes something is wrong and goes looking for him. She searches the empty furniture store, follows signs of Clark's passage, and finds the hidden entrance. Mary moves through the maze alone. She catches glimpses of disturbing figures, hears movement in distant corridors, and repeatedly calls for Clark. After several frightening encounters, she finally finds him deep inside. Clark explains that he has been hiding because Mary was making too much noise. Then he makes an impossible claim. This place contains every place that ever was. Before Mary can process it, a threatening disturbance nearby proves that Clark is not the only danger inside. Mary soon discovers what Clark has become. He controls helpless figures inside the maze and repeats her own therapy lessons about loops, habits, and neural pathways. But he has twisted them into an excuse to stay here forever. Then Clark shows her the maze's most horrifying ability. It can recreate people and objects from memory, but imperfectly. He claims these distorted copies are better than real people because they do not feel pain, fear, or ego. Mary begs him to let her go, but Clark wants validation. He decides they will repeat the therapy role play one more time, recreating the night his marriage collapsed. The maze supplies a version of the setting, and Clark forces Mary into the scene while trying to make every detail match his memory. The argument begins again. The broken glass, the drinking, the late night, and Clark insisting that his work pays for everything. Just like before, he becomes cruel and abusive. Mary finally breaks character and confronts him, making it clear that even inside an impossible world, Clark is repeating the exact same behavior. Mary tells him the real pattern is not alcohol, his job, his wife, or his brain. It is Clark refusing responsibility and blaming everything else for what he chooses to do. For a moment, he asks how to stop. Clark then twists Mary's words for the other inhabitants, telling them they do not need to change either. The gathering immediately turns violent. As the room erupts into chaos, Mary takes the only opening she has and runs. She races through the maze with its inhabitants behind her, crossing hallways, furniture-filled rooms, and repeating spaces that offer no clear exit. Exhausted, she keeps moving and eventually climbs through an opening in the ceiling while the same multilingual greetings from the old recordings echo around her. Mary searches door after door, encounters more bizarre figures, and crawls through cramped passages while trying to stay ahead. During the struggle, she uses a gas cylinder or vapor source against the people pursuing her, leaving several figures disoriented as she fights to survive. After the confrontation, confused survivors regroup and try to understand what happened. Mary is surrounded again, and the familiar recorded greetings continue through the corridors. The sounds now connect her experience directly to the mysterious footage from 1990, suggesting this place has been swallowing people for decades. Mary eventually finds herself somewhere very different, a controlled interview room. A man named Phil questions her about how she entered the phenomenon. Phil reveals that his organization once manufactured MRI machines, but after discovering this impossible space, studying it became their real work. They have been mapping and observing the phenomenon, and Phil believes it could be one of the most important discoveries in human history. Mary quickly realizes she is not being debriefed for her own safety. They need information from her, and Phil cannot promise she will be released. Worse, he admits doors into the maze are appearing everywhere. The scale of the disaster becomes clear through missing person evidence. Clark, Kat, Bobby, and the people Mary encountered are only part of a much larger pattern. The maze is not an isolated anomaly beneath one furniture store. The film ends without explaining how the phenomenon works or whether anyone can contain it. A final quiet image leaves Mary, Clark, and the countless missing people hanging over the story, while the maze remains open somewhere beyond the walls, still waiting for the next door to appear.